Good morning. Can you hear me in the back? Thank you for being here. We're going to give just a short update on the beverage industry worldwide, the global sort of trends that we're seeing, especially for the last 2 years, as we start to get more and more into different types of beverages. So this is what we'll talk about. There's a lot in the market. You'll get to see some examples of products from Europe, Australia, Asia, and other countries, as well as what is happening here in North America. So this is a survey that has been done by a marketing group. And one of the things that they looked at is where the beverage industry is and where it's going financially as far as the HPP segment. It is predicted that about 2025, it will top 25 billion US dollars. Currently, the industry is running right about 2 to 3 billion US as far as just the beverage segment is concerned. For the entire HPP industry, it is about 12 billion US currently. So beverage has a lot to do with the growth of this industry. The product trends that we are seeing, premium juices still is a major player in the beverage segment. Orange juices and watermelon juices or whatever types of pure juice, single juices. So the premium quality juice are still commanding a large percentage. But what we have been seeing is a lot of these new mixes in the market. Most of you are aware of the fruit juice, the vegetable blends, the cleanse formulas that people are selling currently. But as exotic fruit blends are coming into the market now, particularly from Asia and from South America. Nut milks, there are many in the market. There are some issues as far as FDA is concerned, so that category is not growing as fast as one would expect unless we solve the issue with the potential for Clostridium botulinum, and I can touch a little bit about that a little later. Coconut water, most of you are aware that there are many coconut water products in the market that are HPP. The problem you had was FDA's concern with a high pH item and the potential for Clostridium botulinum. What we have done is that we have initiated a study that actually has been completed to show that coconut water cannot facilitate the germination, growth, and toxin production of Clostridium botulinum, both the non-proteolytic as well as the proteolytic strains. That data has been submitted to FDA about a month ago, and we are awaiting a ruling on the FDA. But the studies that we have conducted under abuse temperature conditions, under refrigerated conditions, has shown that those organisms cannot germinate and grow and produce toxin in coconut water. We're also seeing a lot of companies putting children's formula in the market, and you'll see some examples of that. Baby foods, and I put foods in sort of parentheses there or quotation marks because it is not a beverage, but it's a fruit-based puree or items that are in the market, and it is subjected to the FDA 5-log pathogen reduction rule also. Cold brew coffee and tea. Many of those are being validated in our laboratory currently for pathogens, and again, most of these will potentially have the same issue if the pH is not adjusted correctly. A new product that we have been seeing in the market, and especially out of New York and in California, are these infused flavored water. There will be some getting into the market within the next 3 weeks. We have just completed validation studies. FDA has accepted it. So there is a company out of New York. What you're actually going to be seeing is a bottle of water with a piece of fruit inside. That itself is also subjected to the 5-log pathogen reduction rule, according to the New York State FDA. Cocktail mixes, many of these are in the market currently. You will get to see some of the examples that is being offered. High protein, vitamin, antioxidant formulation beverages, those sort of can be in any of these categories, but some of them are actually targeting almost like what you have with the vitamin water, but these are more complex with antioxidants and other types of health or materials inside to promote health. And a new category, I don't know how to put it down here, but they're talking about the health and beauty formula. You'll just see some examples of it. Maybe it's a marketing thing, but it's just the sort of formulations of the same products that you have here, but they're specifically targeting antioxidants in those formulations. There are basically 4 reasons why this beverage segment is really increased or is growing rapidly as far as HPP is concerned. One is food safety. FDA requires that fruit juices be given a 5-log pathogen reduction. In 1999, we worked with FDA, submitted data that shows that HPP achieves exactly or greater the 5-log reduction that you will get for heat. And with that, FDA has accepted HPP as a 5-log pathogen reduction process. So if you go on the CEFSAN website, you can pull that information up. This thing is sort of moving. And the work we did is with the vegetative pathogens. We also work with a pathogenic parasite, which is Cryptosporidium parvum. That was at a direct request from the FDA to show that that pathogen, which is not a bacteria, is also affected by HPP. Nutrition, a lot of studies have been done since the mid-90s, and we have followed up with studies with products that are being marketed in Canada as well as in Europe to show that vitamins, bioactive compounds are not affected by HPP. This is good on in a nutritional side of things, but it can be a nightmare for the processor because enzymes are also not affected by HPP. So enzymes like PPO and PME that cause separation will still be active. Shelf life is as good as what the quality of the packaging material is. You need to protect your product against oxygen, so you'd have to have a packaging material that has a very good OTR value to it. The most susceptible part of that packaging is the caps. Most people think that if they take a cap and screw it on and it's very, very tight, that it doesn't leak. Almost all the caps in the market leak unless it's a special design cap for HPP. There are 2 companies that are marketing those. One is called Berry Cap. It's called a double seal. And one is called Silgan. Silgan makes what they call a triple seal caps. And these have been tested up to 90,000 PSI. You really can't see it visually by looking at it. You have to test it with a fluorescent dye because there may be minute leaks that will get into the bottle that can cause spoilage and compromise your shelf life. And it also presents a risk if you can get pathogens into those products. Because what happened, the leaks into the bottle tends to happen during the decompression. When you run a bottle of products in the HPP vessel, there may be a paneling, some sort of a vacuum-like situation. And at decompression, you pull whatever material, either the water in the vessel or air when the bottle is out on the outside. So that itself determines what the shelf life is. So if you really give the best packaging material, there is no reason why you can't get in excess of 6 months of shelf life. We have run this study over and over, subjected it to FDA, and most of the studies were run through 6 months. freshness, raw taste. That was a court. Someone had filed that you cannot use the word raw on HPP juices. However, the court has ruled that you can. It was out of in California. We presented data as well as some written information on the literature, and the court has ruled that you can call your product raw if it's HPP. The only thing that you can't call it is the word fresh. That's still under consideration with the FDA. So companies have been very innovative and using every version of the word fresh on their bottles. We have conducted a lot of these challenge studies, validation studies that we send to FDA. Remember, juice is under mandatory HACCP. You have to validate your product. If you are making 10 different products, you don't have to do it all. You will select the one that is more susceptible based on the pH, based on the Brix level, and you can conduct that challenge study or validation study, and that will really answers the question on the other types of products. So you don't have, if you are running 10 products, you do not have to do 10 challenge studies. We have discussed this for a lot of customers with the FDA, and they are in agreement that if you take the product that is more susceptible to issues with the higher pH and the higher Brix, then in that case, you can use that product as the model for the others. When the pH is about 4.1 or 4.6 and less, there is really no need to run it at the maximum pressures, even the longer times. We have shown in increments of 15 seconds and data that we sent to FDA that at 80,000 psi for 45 seconds, you basically get greater than a 7 log reduction of any of the pathogens if the pH is below 4.6. If you are running a product that is, I don't have that here, that is a higher pH, then you will have to take the pressure up as well as the time under pressure to get the equivalent log reduction. So a lot of it is really determined by the pH and the Brix level. Coconut water, we have done a lot of work with coconut water either from Brazil, frozen coming into the US. We have worked with Thai coconut and as well as fresh coconut from Florida. You are able to inactivate greater than a 5 log pathogen reduction, not Clostridium botulinum. So HPP, as you know, has no effect on spore formers. So in that sense, you will have to have some other protection in your product that will prevent germination and growth of Clostridium botulinum, particularly the non-proteolytics, the ones that can grow at the lower refrigerated temperatures. I think this thing is on automatic. I'm not pressing the button, but it keeps going. Nutrition-wise, when we introduced this technology in Canada, Health Canada asked that we show that HPP has no effect on vitamin C, on niacin, on folic acid. And we tried it at different pressures and different times, and really speaking, there isn't anything. This is actually a repeat of what was published out of the I think it's the Italian Food and Beverage in the late 90s that published a paper in a similar way. We repeated the study on several occasions, and none of the vitamins are affected by HPP. Vitamins can be affected, like vitamin C, but not by HPP. It really speaking on the quality of the packaging material, because even UV can affect your vitamin C concentration in your bottles. Chlorophyll, a very sensitive compound, lutein, and other materials are not also affected by HPP. This was required for shipment of HPP products into Japan. And this was a wheatgrass formula that we did this study with. If you take a look at the chlorophyll, it looks like there is a movement upwards that you're increasing. We were looking at different temperatures. The chlorophyll levels remain the same. It's that just you are releasing more from the cells so the machine can actually pick it up. Taste. This is a published study from France looking at HPP and non-HPP products, and the taste profile of HPP and a raw, fresh product are almost identical. Once you add heat to it, you have some of the off flavors that are developed. We also did this study using Food Science of Australia, and what they found is that products up to 90 days had same taste profile of orange juice and apple juice as a fresh product. I don't have that data in front of me, but in longer presentations, I usually show that also. One of the things that we have been seeing, there are a lot of small companies that got into HPP, and they got into HPP using tollers or toll processors that have vessels and were just providing the service. But we're starting to see the larger companies getting into HPP now. I can use these names, they're auto names, these are public, this is a public information. CocaCola, Pepsi, Starbucks. We have done a lot of work with Starbucks in the earlier days when our laboratory was in the Seattle area. Bolthouse, which is actually Campbell's now, as well as others. And the others are the ones that I really can't mention. But as you can see, Innocent, Suja, they're all Coca-Cola companies, or at least some ownership within the Coca-Cola organization. Pepsi has their own products, the Naked Press product. Starbucks has products with their Starbucks label in Asia. The 5 or 6 bottles you see on top there are in Korea. They're done with one of our customers just out of Seoul. Evolution brand, which is in California, is also Starbucks. In Europe, you're starting to see some of the Starbucks fruit purees in some of their delis. Bolthouse, which is Bolthouse Farms, which is the company in California, has been purchased by Campbell's Soup Company. And they have several products that they're putting into the market. The 2 that I can share with you, it's the 1950 Beverage, and also some of the smoothies that they're making for children. But there are a lot of new products coming into the market. Pineapple juice. This is a product on the left from Costco. It's actually being done in Guatemala, and they have different sizes. If you go to a public store or to Costco, you will find this. It's fresh pineapple juice, nothing added to it. You have sugarcane juice. You have some of these Caribbean formula. The irony about the Caribbean one is actually being done in New Jersey, but it is using products, exotic products from the Caribbean that they are actually blending to make some of these products. And you have some of these, what they call chewable juices, in juices that actually have materials inside that you can chew on, like nuts and other pieces of berries or so. Just some examples of products in North America. You have the watermelon products. Now, it doesn't show it here unless you read the label. Watermelon has a pH above 4.6. So all of these products has lemon juice inside to drop the pH to 4.6 or less. Daily Greens, which is out of Texas area, has several formulations. Let's see, Suja. O2 Living is a company out of New York that has been in the HPP business here using a tolling system out of Connecticut for several years now. And the one at the bottom there is actually HPP juice being offered at the 7-Eleven. That's the 7-Eleven brand for HPP products. So even a store like a fast, one of these corner stores are actually having their own brand of HPP products. Similarly, in Taiwan, there is a store that is called Fresh Mart, and they also have their own type of HPP products that are being supplied by one of the Taiwanese company that runs one of the HPP systems. So you would expect, what we have seen is some of these stores that don't charge you too much. The Starbucks products is a very high price products because it has the Starbucks emblem on it. Yeah, we all pay extra for our coffees also when we buy it at Starbucks. It's the same thing for the juices. But these smaller stores that are actually having their own brand, I wasn't pressing any button, trust me. These smaller stores like the 7-Eleven and the Family Mart stores are actually offering these products at a very, very low price. And it's a high quality HPP product. In Europe, Europe currently, I think, has more variety of products in the marketplace than North America. What happened in Europe is that there's so many different countries around and each of them has their own formula. And you will have to use about 20 different slides to put all the products that are being done in Europe currently. But they're all smaller markets or smaller companies, not the big companies. Pepsi does have, and Coke has products in Europe. The Innocent product is out of the UK. Australia and New Zealand, they have several products in the marketplace and they are actually growing currently with lots of the new blends. What we're seeing is some of the blends that we had here in North America is actually being sort of copied by some of these other countries. They're using the same formulation. Your kale, your apple juice, your cucumber juice, celery juice, your basic items, but they have the advantage that they do have some exotic fruit products that they're incorporating into it. In Brazil, acai berry is a very big product that is added to some of these juices. And with that is a very good pH adjuster. So with acai berry, we are finding a lot of blends that are coming out that you don't need to add apple juice to it. Latin America, the one on top is done in Brazil. And they have different price levels. There is one with a foil cap. There's one with a foil cap that is offered at a cheaper price in the market, and then you have this product with a different cap and a different bottle that commands a little higher price. The sugarcane, the pineapple juice in the middle there, that's those two bottles are the ones I showed earlier from Costco. And you have coconut water. Those two juices at the end in the upper right-hand corner, the pineapple juice and some strawberry lemonade, actually are coming out of Guatemala also. A small country like Guatemala, there are 3 HPP machines actually operating in Guatemala. South Africa, we have seen a lot of blends. They have just, a company in South Africa has just installed pieces of equipment to continue this. So there's some trends going on in South Africa, again, making use of some of the local products that they have. Asia, as I said, your Starbucks is done. Chimay at the bottom there is a company in Taiwan. They produce both in Taiwan as well as in Vietnam. On the right-hand corner, this is a company that they're called Paris Baguette, which is similar to like a Starbucks store that you would go into. They have their own blends of juices that they are actually selling into their market. They also, you're starting to see in Asia some of the yogurt-based blends, avocado-based blends, juices. They have a little bit of a different taste profile than we have here in the US. So some of those products are becoming very, very popular now. The ones that I was telling you that seems to be targeting children, you look at the Bolt House. You have the squeeze tubes from Montreal that has been in the market for the last 7 years. It is actually just a puree that is actually flavored. It's an apple puree that is flavored with other fruit products. So it's not colored. So a blueberry one will be apple with blueberry or apple with strawberries. And in the right-hand corner here, you have just chunks of pineapple grapefruit and mango that is put into a pouch, and it can be just like a squeeze pouch. No juice is added to it. The juice actually comes from the fruit during the processing. This thing has a problem. We're starting to see cocktail mixes. There's some being offered out of New York area. There's actually some in the California area. And not just the mix itself, but also those that are sold to the bars that they can use to do their own mixes. There are some interest in actually adding the alcohol to it for a final product, which is kind of good when you add alcohol with these products. There is a synergistic component with the alcohol for microbial inactivation, so you can use less conditions. And we see this category, not here in the US, I've seen it more actually coming out of Europe. And it is sort of these blends that are high in antioxidant, they're high in vitamins, they're high in other minerals that are supposed to enhance beauty and health.